if you're a small operator, you're probably not going to be spending lots of money. You may not have a political action committee if you're a small operator, and so you're going to be looking for people who are running locally. And it's real easy to figure out where candidates stand. You ask questions, or your local restaurant association or your local chamber of commerce asks questions. I mean, these people are employing individuals who are whose job is designed to figure out if this candidate or that candidate is sensitive to industry issues. Something to keep in mind, however, is that a lot of people who are running for office have no knowledge about restaurants except that they ate in one. And the numbers that people need to be familiar with, like return on investment or profit margins, if you go into a restaurant today and you ask a waiter or a waitress how much money do they make in tips, they'll tell you 15 to 20%. So on $100 you make $15 or $20, is that right? Yes, that's right. Well, how much money do you think the restaurant makes on that same $100? Well, they think to themselves, well, if I'm making 15 to 20 on $100 in sales, the restaurant must be making $50 to $70, and that's the answer that you get. Well, if that's what a waitress thinks, maybe that's what a congressman thinks, because the waitress or the waiter, they should know a little bit more than somebody who's not even connected to the industry. You may not have a member of Congress running who has any sensitivity to these issues. You need to go in and talk to these people when they are running for office. And you say, I want to explain my business to you, and I want you to understand my business, and then you may decide whether or not you want to support that individual or not. There's lots of ways to either find out or to educate, because people may not have a position. And I think that's something that we don't do very much of. One question that I could ask a candidate would be if they understood business economics. One of the things that we found through a survey of members of Congress is that the ones who voted most against a business never had a course in economics in college, and the people who voted what we would consider more sensibly did have economics or were even economic majors. People who understand the economic system are going to be more sensitive to voting properly and not killing off the businesses that they're expecting to employ people. Nobody's a novice in this business. I mean, if you've got a checkbook, you're not a novice. You want to get involved in political activity, you can write a check. You write a check to the dry cleaner, well, you can write a check to a candidate. If you want to be involved with your time, you can do everything and anything that a candidate's office might ask you to do. You can get other people involved. I've been very impressed with some of the franchisees with some of the companies that I work with. Now, these are people, they're different than the people at the corporate level because they're local. They have a local business interest and they have an equity interest in their franchise. And I see some of these people actually organizing in their community, trying to get other business people to support a candidate. So they put in their several $1,000s, and then they try to get other people to do the same thing. Well, if you're not going to care who gets elected to office, then you're not going to care what their decisions are. I mean, I find that when people complain about the decisions that Congress makes or state legislators make, when they say, I can't believe that they made that decision, I say, well, did you do anything to see to it that somebody else was in that decision-making role? And they said, no. And I said, well, then don't complain to me that they're doing things that you think are stupid. You know, almost anybody can get elected to Congress if there's nobody on the other side. So if you're not going to see to it that there's significant opposition, well, the wrong person may get elected to office. I remember it was William F. Buckley that said he'd rather be governed by the first 100 pages in the Boston Telephone Directory than the United States Senate, because he didn't feel that the people running for office had as much common sense as the average person on the street. And in some cases, that's probably true. If you want the right people to be, if you want the right decisions to be made, then help get the right people in office. If you're not willing to do that, then don't complain. Do you know everything you need to know about the minimum wage? Tune in for a discussion of that next time.